I can't see nothing. Sun's too bright. Chris came out, knocked out the welding. So he did it last week, but we was out of town. So we're gonna clean them all up. Clean up all the welds. It was brown. So we had to add stock in there to fill it. Brush it, paint it, just real quick. It's still too bright. Let's get some paint on it so it won't rust all to heck. All right, so it's Monday. We got our school bus. It's sitting at the house. Now it's time to get on James's. We are going to re-ring these injectors. If you don't remember, I messed up. This was my fault. I hope it's my fault. I'm actually hoping that it is, because if it is the O-ring that is inside in between the housing and the tip, if there's that O-ring in there, I have not found where to get those O-rings yet. I hope that's not it. I hope it was because I ran it down with the Milwaukee and I literally spaced it off. People came in the shop, and when they came in the shop, it wasn't just like a 5-minute talk. It was like a 2.5 hour gig when the people came to the shop. I had the torque wrench in my hand. 2.5 hours later, I got sidetracked, and I don't know what happened. If I would have kept driving, it would have taken it. It would have ran away. We don't make a habit of forgetting stuff, that's for freaking sure. But when we do, I'm not gonna hide it. I mean, I'm human. You know, I'm human, and sometimes being human really is a freaking drag. Yeah, that new burner's nice. I think I got that from West Brothers in Utah. It preheated for about 3 minutes. And those of you that know, that is really, really good for an oil burner. To only preheat for, oh, see the little stumble? For it to only preheat for a couple minutes. Hopefully we get to this today. I want to go ahead and get the injectors in and do a drive and get all the air purged out. And then we'll come back and then we'll bang on that rear diff cover and the brakes. I'm gonna start by just bleeding. Let's just see if we can get them bled out, because the brakes didn't make any noise, and I haven't looked at the level of pads. The problem would be that the brake fluid was low, and I haven't seen any brake fluid leaks. So if your brake fluid's low, a lot of times that means all that fluid is out of the master cylinder and it's down in the calipers because the brakes are worn, and the brake pads actually cause the calipers to be expanded quite a bit. So that's what we're gonna hope for, that it's just air. I guess Julie just got some totes so we can move stuff. I think she went a little crazy. Well, we was debating on totes, boxes. How much were these a piece?
$5.
$5 a piece, and they are, well, that big. We might be able to stack them up in that bus. And for $5 a piece, I mean, you go to Walmart and try to get those totes, and they're 20. It's 13, $20 a piece. Cats don't know how to act. They want to get in it. But that's a lot of freaking totes. We can fit a lot of stuff in there and stack them up. So I think that was a good idea. All right, back to it. Let's get back to work. Back to the brakes. So we're going to, well, heck with it. We'll get back to that. We'll address that later. Right now, let's get the task at hand. Let's get this in so crankshaft rotate on its own accord. Let's do that. Look down in each one. Look at the bottom cup. There's always a little bit on the front ledge, so that's when we'll take and let's see if we can't clean that a little better. Okay, this is when I will take this screwdriver and very lightly, I said that it's the same with 6 liters, just take it down and you just feel where that little ridge is. It takes nothing to take it off. Like literally just touch it. Just touch it and then nylon brush one more time and then blow it out. I mean, I'm actually lifting up. I'm not even putting the whole weight of the screwdriver on it. Just rubbing it along, and if you feel the tip of the screwdriver, you can feel where there's stuff at. Just very lightly run around. I mean, we could get, the wire brushes. I've tried those. They last for a little while, and then inevitably the brushes get deformed, so I don't know. Maybe I haven't found the right ones yet. We'll keep doing this. We'll clean them all up. Just run around, make sure that we get any ridges off. The AC was all right, I guess, with how it's recovering right now. See, it keeps bouncing back and forth. It goes to recover. That means the system is not clean. That's just what I've seen, is that if it doesn't just suck it all down and recover everything, the orifice tube could look like crap. The dryer could be, just condensation in it and cause it to get all gummed up, and then it won't flow good. It should recover a lot faster than this. It should suck it all out and then go to vacuum. But right now it reads the pressure goes down. See, it's trying to recover, and then it goes to vac in because it thinks that it's not pulling any more out. So it goes to vac, it busts whatever is in the line, busts it loose, brings the pressure back up, and then goes back to recover. So anytime it does that, that would, right there, just did it again. See, it'll do it constantly until the pressure goes down. So, yeah, let's see if we can't do everything we can to remedy that. So we're, it might have got bent out. Could be a little tighter. Look at the AC condenser with the mission motor radiator. So we're gonna do a little bit of redneck engineering and squeeze this sucker down and make it so it holds it tight. Really don't want that condenser bouncing around as it drives down the road. So it's pretty easy to snake it out, pull the push pins out, and then you can just twist it. I mean, for the cost of this line, sometimes you can get that apart, but just replace it. Then you get new O-rings here and new O-rings there. And then, because to get those O-rings, a lot of people will just buy AC kit O-rings, and there's 45,000 O-rings in that freaking bag. And 90% of the time, the wrong ones get put back on. Just replace the entire line. What's really cool is that this finally showed up. The transmission line right here, I mean, is it cool? Because it's behind everything now. So we did get this line. It's all rusted back behind it, so we are going to go ahead and replace it. It's wonderful to put stuff on after we already put it together because it shows up whenever it wants. But we got it. At least we got it before the truck left. All right, normally we should drill that out. I mean, drill out the accumulator, drill the bottom of it, and measure how much fluid, how much oil, tag oil comes out of it. General consensus would be 6 ounces in the compressor, 1 ounce in the accumulator, 1 ounce in the evaporator core, and 1 ounce in the condenser. That's 9 ounces. That's what the system takes. So, you know, I'm on the fence on whether or not we actually need to drill them. I think if you replace the condenser, go ahead and throw 1 ounce in it, and we'll call that. We could take the Schrader valve out and do it, but instead I'll just shoot it down in here, and then I'll work it. Shoot it down in here. Throw 1 ounce in it, and then we'll work it down. So now it's down in here. Kind of wait a little bit, and then we'll inch it over and get it to go down in the accumulator. Then we'll see how much comes out of here. Yep, a lot. Spin it around until we get a little bit out of this one, but not really that important. But we just want it to be down in there. It'll make, there you go. And then I use PAG oil on all of the lubricant for the O-rings. To put all the O-rings together, don't use oil. I just use PAG oil because it's safe, right? It's the oil that's supposed to be in the system. So kind of like transmission O-rings, use transmission fluid. Coolant O-rings, use coolant, you know. But I do use oil for coolant O-rings, but you get the idea.
Getting them torqued in.
All right, well, it's really hard to find this short torque wrench to do this.
But we did find one. Injectors are torqued.
Injectors are down, now we got the lines pre-torqued. Now we're gonna turn them 1 flat. Just put blue lines on it. Let's go inside out is what they say, so we'll start here. I mean, all right, ready? I hate starting with the easy ones. Yep. One flat. Just about like that. Whoa, that's sharp.
Okay. Think he's got all these turned out at once.
Back ones. These are a pain cab on. They can be done. See how it's got that little pad? Don't try to stretch it over it. Run the fuel pressure, the FRP sensor. Run that underneath the fuel line. And these, you don't need that tool that they sell, that tool to disconnect these things. Just kind of get them in, wiggle them around, make sure they lock in, getting them apart. I guess I didn't show you getting them apart. You have to catch that next time. So we have this truck that we rebuilt the engine in. And it was running beforehand. Put 10 over max force 7 ceramic coated pistons, a balanced rotating assembly, put new forward connecting rods, OEM rods, O'Reilly's fan clutch, which is a pain in the butt. I hate the fan clutch, it sucks. We put a Murray coolant pump, O'Reilly's coolant pump. We put River City Diesel nozzles, stock size nozzles. Did not replace the O-rings in the nozzles because they're not available and they don't really have issues with them. I've put a whole bunch of those nozzles in and never had an issue like this. It's making oil. Drove it, we towed it 170 miles, something like that. We towed it because we got the engine all done and we fired it up. The RPM did not return to idle as fast as I would like. So in hindsight, that was a red flag right there. I drove it all up north and I had 350 miles on it. And I ran it pretty hard up north. That's the only saving grace is what I'm saying. That's why it went so hard. It went so long because I was burning off. The crankcase filled up on the way up north, but I was running fast. I was running it. And when I got up there, I don't know if I checked the oil or not. We have videos of that. So I figured, you know what, I worked it hard and it got to cool off in the shop up north. And so I got back in and I said, you know, I'm not gonna work it. We're gonna do, 60 to 75, 60 to 80, that range of speed and not work it hard and just let it run. And I believe that by doing that, it allowed the oil to actually build, and it built up and it started hazing out the back, and I felt it in the pedal, just a little funky, and I pulled over. I mean, we was 100 and some odd miles from the shop, but yeah, I stopped, done. Backed it into a parking spot. Julie's got a picture of it. Backed it in spot and left it. Said it ain't worth it. There's too much investment in it for an injector or whatever reason, a fuel tube. And they've all been new fuel tubes every time. That's not cheap. That's a bummer. So it came back in with high crankcase oil. Towed it in here, drained it, took all the injectors back out, replaced the injectors, O-rings and tubes. See the defining lines? Yeah, hindsight, probably could have just torqued them right back down, right? And none of them were burnt. We did put a new fuel rail pressure sensor in it. Oh my God, let's hope for that. That would be wonderfully awesome. I mean, that would instill a little bit of hope in humanity right there.
It's the brand new fuel rail pressure?
No, it's because of torque. I mean, it's tight. I wonder if it can be over tight. I mean, we've replaced a lot of them, but the other option would be the bore inside the cylinder head. And I actually did wire brush it with a brass brush. I mean, if it's cavitated up there and it's leaking from the return side of the fuel, at that point we turn on the fuel pump. We're gonna drain the oil right now and turn on the fuel pump. Now I'm debating on what drain pan to use. All right, this drain pan right there should fill up about 1.5 inches from the bottom is where it should be. We're gonna have the other one there. I don't know how much is gonna come out, but. Oh, by the way, the drain plug, I know I beat the heck out of it, but it's block drain. I don't know that I mind it. I mean, after this ordeal, I've gotten to use it quite a bit, right? What's in here? It's gonna get all over me, maybe. Looks like brand new one. There's 30 freaking minutes on it. It drains fast. We're gonna make a little bit of a mess. Oh, this is gonna be funny if it stops. Get ready to pull that out. Calling it. Let's see it goes now. I mean, that was plus or minus a little bit, but we're probably on borrowed time about now. Right? Yeah, it was over. Way over. See when it stops. It's all right.
It looks super clean. You mean to pop the filter out?
Yeah. I don't know if it smells like fuel or not.
A little bit.
Does it? Definitely is. Bummer. Boy, any contaminants that were in this thing have been washed out pretty good. That was a 30-mile oil change right there. I'll put that oil in the lift gate, I guess. We'll put that in something. Yeah, it was pretty full then. I don't know if that you'd call that a gallon, maybe half a gallon full. Over full. Look at that line right there. That line. That line is gonna give us fits. I mean, that's what the threads are wet. I mean, it's wet behind it. I washed it though, so. So the fuel pump right here, we're gonna go ahead and disconnect this. And as you can see, the harness is all taped up. Smashed my finger yesterday, so it's hard to pull on it. So we can unplug that, then you can plug in right there. That way you can run the pump without having to even turn the key on or nothing. The downside is that it runs this pump. So we're wearing the pump out, you know. Oh, there comes a bunch. We need to put a different pump on it. Yeah, it's gonna have to drain for a little. Cover. Right there's a high pressure pump cover. Oh, look at that, there's sealant smudged on it, really? This does have about 400 some odd miles. So as far as there being any leaks, we would see it by now. If we gotta go to the pump, I mean, I just, like I said, I've yet to have a pump leak externally. Or I mean internally leak externally of the pump. I haven't had one, or I haven't diagged one. Right now we're gonna plug it in. Let's see if something jumps out at us. But there'll be a lot of oil come out of that, just drip residual off the inside of the engine. It'll take a long time, especially on a cold engine. Okay, so right now we're not gonna run that aimlessly. We're not gonna do this. I just wanted to have it set up so that when we get back, we can just hook up the battery cable and it'll start pumping. We have to have it stop dripping. The only thing this is gonna tell is if we can definitively find a leak by taking the valve covers off without running the truck. That's what I would like to know right now, because if we can do it, and I mean, because we can always do this afterwards. I mean, I would gladly take the valve covers off and energize this fuel if it is proven fruitful to find a result. Yeah, so go ahead and unplug it. Hopefully when we come back, this will be done dripping, and then we'll put another cup under a clear cup, kick the fuel pump on, and then if any drips come out at all, then there you go. It'll tell us that, hey, we can at least look in there and see a leak. Because it would be two different things if I'm taking the valve covers off to be able to run the truck with the, I mean, that's, you know, I would just like to know before we tear into it if the plan is going to be to run the truck with the valve covers off. So this right here will tell us if it's a return side. I think that it would leak out of the O-ring, the physical O-ring on the injector. I think it would leak from the 6 pounds that this pump is putting out. I would, maybe, I hope. It'd be cool if it would. That's all I'll say. Yeah, so we're gonna let it sit here and drip for a while, and then we'll come back. What time is it right now?
2:30.